Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh is hosting a virtual community briefing tonight from 5:45 to 7:30. That tops your Spectrum News in 90. That briefing is being held to help residents navigate federal immigration policy changes. The event features legal experts, educators, and advocacy groups addressing topics like DACA, temporary protected status, and ICE. Residents can register and submit questions online. State police arrested a North Lawrence man for 2 counts of first-degree rape. Daniel Harrington is accused of having sexual intercourse with 2 victims under the age of 13. Harrington was arraigned in Norfolk Town Court and was sent to St. Lawrence County Jail with $100,000 cash bail. Tomorrow marks week 2 of the correction officer strike. CEOs are still participating in the unsanctioned strike despite being told they will lose their job and benefits. As of right now, 32 out of 42 New York State prisons currently have correction officers protesting. Downtown Syracuse Dining Week continues this week. It runs until March 14th. Many restaurants are offering 3-course meals for $40 or less and 2-course lunch offerings at $15 or less. Switching gears now to the weather. We're expecting a bit of a warm up this week. How long is that going to last? Let's get a check of your forecast.
The Utica City Common Council has declared a meeting to consider waiving the tax cap. This tops your Spectrum News in 90. The meeting is set to take place at 5 o'clock, and council members are urged to have a meaningful discussion about potential cuts and their impact on the community. The meeting aims to clarify how failing to waive the tax cap could result in a tax increase and reserve funds that cannot be used for city operations. Meanwhile, New York's Court of Appeals will hold a special 3-day session at the Broome County Courthouse in Binghamton from March 11th through the 13th. During the session, the court will hear oral arguments on various cases, including issues related to injuries from errant sports balls and police pursuits. The visit coincides with Civic Learning Week, offering a unique opportunity for residents to observe the court in action. Daily arguments will be also live streamed at nycourts.gov. And a 1962 Cornell graduate has made a groundbreaking $100 million gift to Cornell engineering. David Duffield made the donation. It will fund a major expansion of Duffield Hall, creating new state-of-the-art labs and research spaces for the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. The project's set to begin this year. Time now for your weather on the One's forecast.
Hello and thank you for joining us on your weekend on Spectrum News 1. I'm Camille DeLongis. U.S. Customs agents began collecting President Donald Trump's 10% tariff on all imports from many countries starting Saturday. This as the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down more than 2,000 points Friday, marking only the 4th time in history that the index has experienced such a drastic decline. The Nasdaq entered a bear market while the S&P 500 saw a massive loss of approximately $5 trillion in market value. Investors are growing increasingly concerned over the ongoing trade war under President Donald Trump. With no indications of any negotiations to de-escalate tensions, market participants are pricing in the worst-case scenario. Higher tariffs on goods from 57 trading partners will begin next week. Countries like Australia, Britain, and Saudi Arabia are among the first targeted. Trump's tariffs will reach 54% on China. Beijing responded with countermeasures, including extra levies on U.S. goods. Tariffs against foreign-made cars coming into the U.S. have begun. That's already sparked protests along our northern border. Our Brianne Rozier talked to demonstrators who say they're working to preserve one of America's strongest relations. Canada also controls a majority of the world's maple syrup supply and manufactures a majority of the equipment. This raises concerns for New York State maple producers, and our Shalon Stevens spoke with a maple producer about how tariffs impact people like him. A budget extender has passed both houses as state lawmakers went home without a budget agreement. Lawmakers continue to debate several proposals made by Governor Hochul. one that makes it easier to hospitalize people with serious mental illness involuntarily and hold them there until they're stabilized. Under these changes, those who are incapable of handling essential needs like food, clothing, and medical care to a point that it causes a risk of physical harm, they could now be considered for involuntary commitment. Other proposals include making it easier to recommit a patient whose initial court order for treatment has expired. The state is seeing a ripple effect from this week's federal cuts to the Department of Health and Human Services. Advocates say that the impact is on people who came to the rescue on one of America's darkest days. According to advocates, this week's cuts would likely impact workers supporting the World Trade Center health program. That program provides medical assistance to first responders and survivors sickened by toxic smoke and debris from the collapse of the Twin Towers. Advocates say these cuts complicate access to care, representing the latest hurdle for those affected.
People are sick and dying, and we have to fight again, because of their gross incompetence.
Spectrum News 1 has reached out to the White House, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the CDC for comment. A spokesperson told us the agency's reorganization is happening in phases. Coming up on your weekend on Spectrum News 1, measures that have been taken into effect to prevent gun violence. Plus, a new ruling on abortion is in effect. What this means for the state after the break.